God. So I'm going to teach you how to write an essay today for PTE Academic, and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I'm going to be like, yeah, bananas. Okay, let's get straight into it. Hi everyone, it's Rena from Perth IELTS and PTE Tutoring. Thank you for being here today, and look at me go! Last Monday I posted, and today I'm posting. It's all happening. Okay, so today we're going to work on one of the hardest questions now for PT Academic, and it is the write essay question. Okay, so let's get straight into it. As usual, there'll be a tute with all the information that I'd like to cover first, and then I'll do a demonstration. Today, I think I might do ApeUni. Okay, maybe I could do Alpha PT. It depends on whatever, how much time we have. But I'll try to do at least two demonstrations for essays on ApeUni, most likely. All right, let's get straight into it. Okie dokie, artichoke. What are we going to cover in this tute today? We're going to talk about the changes to the marking or scoring system. Then we're going to compare IELTS Task 2 writing, whether it's for general training or academic, and PTE Academic write essay. Then we're going to understand the marking criteria and what you need to get that maximum score. Then we're going to talk very quickly about the skills and minimum requirements that you as a test candidate require. Okay? Then we're going to talk about writing the essay itself. The beginning, which is understanding and planning, the middle, typing, and finally reviewing your writing. And in the end, of course, we're going to have some demonstrations. Okay? Let's talk about the changes before and after August the 7th. Previously, you needed a total score of 15, and this is how they broke it down. They gave you 3 points for content, and everything else was 2. Okay, 2 for form, 2 for structure, development, and coherence, 2 for grammar, 2 for grammatical range, 2 for lexical range, and finally 2 for spelling. Some aspects haven't changed, which are form, grammar, vocabulary, and spelling, but the others has changed. Now, after the August the 7th, we need a total score of 26 with a huge focus on content, development, structure, and coherence, and general linguistic range. Each of these require a total score of 6, which is pretty crazy as far as I see, because a lot of things have not changed. So let's just go through the current situation. 6 for content, 6 for development, structure, and coherence, 6 for general linguistic range, and everything else is still 2. 2 for form, 2 for grammar, 2 for vocabulary, and 2 for spelling, giving you a total score of 26. What hasn't changed? You are still required to put out a 200 to 300 word essay within a strict 20 minutes. Only one question will come out, and the prompt is usually 2 to 3 sentences long. So, about 2 sentences explaining, which is a statement, and then 1 sentence, which is usually a question. Now, my alerts and alarms are going on in my head because they've changed a lot, but they haven't changed some other things. Okay, so what does this all mean for us? They have made the scoring criteria stricter, but they didn't adjust any other parameters. That is incredibly unfair to expect all of you to spit out an IELTS level essay with half the recommended time of an IELTS recommended essay. So how does this match? This tells me that it's still a really shitty exam. It's improved. It's close to a passable English test, but let's face it, there's something dodgy going on, and let's talk about it. Let's compare it to IELTS Task 2. Okay, so now we're going to compare IELTS Writing Task 2. Doesn't matter if it's general training or academic, the format is the same. And PT Academic write essay. Those 2 questions are going to be compared. For IELTS, which again, I admit I am biased. IELTS is the love of my life. I think it's a great exam. I think it does truly assess your English command. I don't think it is dodgy at all, although just as money grubby as Pearson. But that's where we're at. Okay, for IELTS Task 2, they recommend 40 minutes, and in that 40 minutes, they would like an academic essay with 250 words minimum, with no penalties if you are slightly under or well over 300, under 250 or well over 300. Okay, PT Academic, you are given 20 minutes, and this time limit is strictly adhered to write 200 to 300 words. There are penalties. If you write less than 120 words or more than 380 words, you get 0. If you write 0 for form, If you write between 120 and 199, or between 301 and 380, you get 1. So if you want that 2 for form, you need to stay within the word limit, because again, this is marked by AI. Next, IELTS writing is assessed by 4 key assessment criteria. They are task response, coherence cohesion, lexical resource, and grammar. Okay? PTE Academic, those folks at Pearson said, you know what? We're going to compete with that shit and we're going to write. Now, we're going to use 7 criteria, each of them with different levels of importance and score contributions to achieve a total score of 26 points. Again, they want you to put out an IELTS level essay in half the time that IELTS recommends to put out an essay. I don't know. I don't know. Next, since the beginning, IELTS has used human examiners. All written work, all essays, all letters, all reports, all task 1, all task 2, all marked by human beings. 2 times. Okay? So there are multiple examiners for the same thing, and then there's adjudicators if there's a dispute. PTE Academic has now said we are going to introduce a human assessor for content, development structure and cohesion, and general linguistic range. This is where the questions really start for me because I am confused. Okay, so let's take a look at the score guide for test takers, the latest one. Let's read it together. While all question types are scored by AI, some question types, such as describe image, retell lecture, respond to a situation, summarize group discussion, summarize written text, and write essay, summarize spoken text, so 7 questions, will also include a human expert review of content. Write essay, however, includes an expert review for development, structure and coherence, and general linguistic range. So those 2 other aspects. My question, and if anybody of you are from Pearson or have any inside knowledge, please explain. Really, for 100% of tests, you are going to have a human assessor. Does that make sense? How are these human assessors being paid? Who are these human assessors? And if the price of the test has not gone up, how does it match? Where are these magical humans appearing from when all this while the test has been marked using AI? Now, artificial intelligence is created and then it is coded to mark whatever you tell it to mark. It is coded to do so. When you have a human assessor, that requires presence of some sort, whether it's online, whatever. Someone has to mark it, and that means someone needs to be paid. Okay? So I don't believe at this stage that 100% of write essay questions are being assessed by a human assessor. Okay? If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Let me know if you know the true situation because I don't believe it at all. I don't. If they had introduced human assessors, they would have to increase the price of the test. Okay, they're not going to absorb the price and be like, oh, you know what, absorb the cost and be like, you know what, we'll pay these guys out of the goodness of our heart. No. Okay, it doesn't make sense. All right, I shall stop there and move on. So now we're going to talk about what we need to do to achieve a high score for PTE academic essay writing. Okay, as usual, we're going to go through the 7 criteria and what I believe is required. Of course, my source is the test taker's guide. Okay, it's straight from the test taker guide. It's also from the score guide. Okay, so first thing we're going to cover is content, which allegedly has a human assessor. I don't believe, but here's where we're at. To get 6, you need to fully address the prompt, demonstrate full command of the argument with your own words, expand on the important points and be specific about it, support your argument convincingly with points and examples throughout the essay. Okay? So, the next one is form. Now, that's number of words. If you don't type between 200 and 300 words, you're not getting the full 2. Okay? You can either get 1 or 0. 0 is when you write way too little or way too much. Next. Development, structure, and coherence. Again, allegedly with a human assessor. What they require is a standard academic essay with a logical structure that flows smoothly and can be followed with ease. IELTS has something similar that when the examiner reads your essay, they can follow it. They don't pause and go, huh? What am I reading? Okay? A clear and cohesive argument with ideas organized into paragraphs that are clear and logically sequenced is required. Okay? You also need to effectively and consistently use connective devices as such as furthermore, therefore, however, moreover, and rubbish like that to get a score of 6. Okay? What's next? The remaining four, which are grammar, general linguistic range, which again has a human assessor, vocabulary range, and spelling. Now, in IELTS, grammar and general linguistic range is 1. Vocabulary range and spelling is 1. Okay, so it's just bullshit how they've just added all these extra criteria. None of them are actually, anyways. So, for grammar, no errors, and you use a selection and a different set of sentence structures such as simple, John has a ball, compound, John has a ball and it is red, and complex, John has a ball, it is red, and he uses it daily on Fridays, which, whatever, a nice complex sentence. Okay, with rare errors. Okay, the average student is not going to get 2 here. Okay, expect to get just 1 or even 0 because it is marked by AI, and AI is absolute. If there is an error, it's going to deduct points. Next, general linguistic range. Okay, so I don't know why I've written that coherence. That is clearly a mistake. You need to use a variety of expressions and vocabulary with ease and precision. What does that mean? So, the more natural sounding your English, the better. Okay, the higher the chance of you reaching that 6. Next, vocabulary range, also known as lexical resource in IELTS. You use a broad range of words, idiomatic expressions, and colloquialisms. That shows the closer you are to a native English speaker, the higher the chances of you getting a full 2. This one is easy enough for you to get a 2. The grammar and the spelling is not. Because the spelling score, to get a 2, you need to make 0 typos and spelling mistakes. That is not the case for you to get a band 9 in IELTS. Everybody knows typos happen. Everybody knows sometimes we miss an article, and sometimes when we're typing really fast. Okay? Not the case when it's being marked by AI. You make one spelling mistake, you get 1. You make more than one spelling mistake, you get 0 out of 2. Okay, let's move on to the skills that you require. So, what do we need? What kind of skills do you require? And you will find this same image on my previous write essay question. Tute, the skills required. You need a minimum typing speed of 25 to 30 words per minute. You need to have basic English grammar and punctuation knowledge. And again, AI loves their commas and Oxford commas, whatever. You need basic English grammar and punctuation. You need to be able to answer a question directly and develop ideas, okay? That further contribute to your answer. You need to be able to manage your time because once again, now you are required to put out an IELTS level essay in 20 minutes. Previously, you were allowed to put out some crap and it'd be all right. Now, because there's a human assessor for content and structure and development and general linguistic range, you are required to do this in 20 minutes. It is a lot harder now. Okay? So let's take a look at how all write essay questions are formatted. Again, full credit to PTE Academic. This is taken from the official guidebook and the question bank. Okay? Everything I have is straight from Pearson. All right? All write essay questions begin with the following prompt. You will have 20 minutes to plan, write, and revise an essay about the topic below. Your response will be judged on how well you develop a position, organize your ideas, present supporting details, and control the elements of standard written English. You should write 200 to 300 words. Okay? So you will see that there's a timer. Okay? And this is the task instructions. This is the answer box. All right? Then there's a word count, you will see, and then you press next when you're ready to go. If you aren't ready, it will automatically go to the next as soon as the 20 minutes is up. Okay, so now comes my method. All right? I want you to learn how to write an essay with no templates, no irrelevant bullshit, no cheating, and no memorized content. I need you to understand the question and respond with a formal, complete, and well developed essay which directly relates to the main content of the question. Okay? So let's see how we do that. Let's talk about the structure of your essay. Okay, the main thing is I want you to say no to templates. All of you. Say no to a template, but yes to a format and yes to structure. Okay? There is a method to doing things and it does not require a template. Stop using templates. Okay? You are going to have a standard academic essay, which includes introduction, body paragraphs, up to three, so two to three, and a conclusion. Let's start off with the introduction. I would like you to write a minimum of two sentences. Sentence number one will paraphrase the statement to show that you understood it. Sentence number two directly answers the question. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean later on. Next, body paragraphs one, two, and an optional body paragraph three. Okay, will always start off the same way. It needs a topic sentence. Okay, why I say this is because sometimes if it's an advantage question, if you let the reader know that this whole paragraph is going to be about advantages, that comes up in the first sentence itself. It shouldn't be hidden. No one should be searching for your main point. Make your point and then explain. Okay? So it starts off with one sentence, which is the first reason or topic of the paragraph, and then two to three sentences explaining why or expanding. This includes examples now because, again, I believe that they are still using AI, and the AI has been coded to search for examples as well. Okay? And finally, you close your essay with one to two sentences. You repeat your opinion from introduction if there was an opinion, and then you add on a future thought or just a general thought. Okay? There we are. So I need you to always follow a standard academic essay format. You must follow this format: introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion. The AI system needs to see the paragraphs clearly and understand that this is how your essay is structured. The first paragraph always has to be an introduction. The body paragraphs have information in them, and then the conclusion has no new information in them. Okay? Let's move on. Don't worry, we are nearing the end. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but I do need you guys to understand it. Okay, so next, we're going to talk about the steps to writing a high scoring essay. As I said, it's the beginning, the middle, and the end. In the beginning, we have two steps, which is understanding and planning. In the middle is just typing, and then the final step, which is the end, is a review and a check. Let's talk about the steps to writing a high scoring essay. Step one, and this is the single most important step, especially for those of you really struggling. Okay? I need you to understand the statement and understand the question. Now, this is an example taken from the question bank, from the official question bank. All right. In many countries, people are consuming considerably larger amounts of sugar than is healthy. Some people think that a tax on products that contain high levels of sugar is the only way to change behavior. In red is the statement. Now they're going to pose a question, and that question is going to be blue, okay? How far do you agree with that idea? You need to understand the statement and you need to understand the question. You need to understand what they're trying to say and you need to understand what they require from you, okay? So, next, after you've understood the question, and you need to do this really quickly because you only have 20 minutes, you need to plan your essay. Now, what do I mean by planning? You need to plan the structure. You need to plan your points. You need to plan and think of explanations and examples. Okay? You must, in the answer box, show a standard essay structure, which is introduction, body paragraph 1, 2, and optional 3, and conclusion. The first thing you're going to do is start by building that structure in the answer box, even before you write the essay. Okay? You come up with your main points, explanations, and examples. Then, once you've thought about them and you've even typed in short notes within the structure, that's when we're going to move on to really typing out the essay. Okay? You need to type out your essay following basic rules. Your introduction should only contain the paraphrased statement and directly answers the question or questions. Okay? For example, in this one, it says, how far do you agree with that idea? You can say, I completely agree with it. I do not agree with it. But you need to answer the question. Okay? If they ask you, do you like chicken or beef? And you say, on Saturday I eat fish, you did not answer the question. If you like, do you prefer chicken or beef? You say, I prefer chicken. Okay? Directly answer the question. No one wants to hear about your Friday fish consumption. Okay? Next, body paragraphs that immediately and relevantly relate to the statement and the answer that you gave in introduction. It requires a topic sentence and then it needs to move on the same way. So, topic sentence for the whole paragraph, and then it's point, explanation, example. If you have a second point, point, explanation, example. Every single time. Do not move away from the structure of a formal essay. Okay? And then conclusion, you're going to repeat your opinion from the introduction and add on any future thoughts. So we've done the beginning and the middle. But what happens in the end? And all this is happening really quickly because it's 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes. And if you are a slow typer, my goodness, it's quite a challenge, okay? So let's talk about the end before you click submit or before you run out of time. Before you submit your essay, you need to do two things. You need to review your essay and you need to check some things. What am I reviewing? You need to ask yourself when you look at your essay, did I understand the statement? Okay? Sometimes it happens very commonly often that you think you understood it, but you have completely misinterpreted the question. Okay? If someone asks you, and someone comes up with a statement saying, oh, nowadays we eat more chicken or beef, and then you go, nowadays we eat more vegetables in general, and I think this is a problem. You are still talking about food, but you've gone off topic. You need to look at your essay and understand that maybe you have completely gotten the question wrong. Did I understand the statement? And did I answer the question to the best of my ability? If you ask me if I like chicken or beef, I'm going to tell you I like chicken. Okay, simple as that. Directly answer the question. Okay, and did I explain why I like chicken and beef? Right? The next one is a little bit harder. All right, to check your own spelling, grammar, missed words, typos, and the word count, because these are going to give you your twos, your two for spelling, your one for grammar. It's very rare to get 2 out of 2 for grammar. Missed words, sometimes we are typing so fast we forget words like is, the, and, prepositions. Okay, typos happen when you're typing really fast. And of course, the word count. If you have written 199, quickly add a couple of words to make sure that you hit the 200 mark. Okay, all right. Now, are we ready for some demonstrations, my friends? I think we should be. All right, let's do this. See you in a minute. Folks, as you can see here, we are on the ApeUni platform. Let's go to write essay. Now, hopefully my camera doesn't fall out when I'm doing this because it has a habit of doing such things. It just stops recording. But I will show you what I do in the steps and then I'll fast forward through the typing and then we'll meet you back at the end for review. Okay, so remember the first step is to understand, followed by plan, type, and then finally review or check. Okay, quite a few of them have been done already, but I don't know if they were done by my students or not, or me. Okay, dependence on technology. Okay, as you can see here, there is a timer. The topic is dependence on technology. That's not what you're going to get on the test day. On the test day, you're going to get 1 to 2 sentences with a statement and 1 sentence for a question. As you can see here, the statement and the question are bundled into one. Do you agree that people are too dependent on technology? It is a yes or no question. Do you like chicken? It's a yes or no question. Yes, I like chicken. Do I agree that people are too dependent on technology? The answer is yes. Do I prove that I understood the question? How do I prove it? I'm going to paraphrase the statement and then directly answer the question. I'm going to do that in my introduction. Okay? In body 1, I'm going to explain how we are too dependent on technology, and in body 2, more how and why I believe so. Okay, and in conclusion, I'm not going to introduce any new ideas. All right, so introduction. As the world becomes more technologically inclined, it is often noted that People, especially our youth, are too dependent on technology, such as mobile phones, mobile phones, tablets, and reliance, and an increasing, and we have become increasingly reliant on artificial intelligence, brackets AI, because I want to use it AI later. I strongly agree the sentiment, with this sentiment, as I have personal experience with dependency. There are a few ways we have become overly dependent on technology. One way we one such way is entertainment. Hold on, let me see how I look if I've pulled the laptop so much closer. That's okay. Okay, one such way is entertainment. One such way is entertainment. Okay, so as you can see, the topic sentence is ways we have become overly dependent. And now I'm introducing my first point, and now I'm going to give an example. Gone are the days of playing in the garden. Our children now spend most of their free time on their tablets or playing games on their computers. So that was a point and explanation. And then example. Another way, technology has seeped into our lives is communication. We no longer feel the need to speak to each other in person. To each other in person. We now communicate via text messages and images and emojis. This has led to a breakdown in the ability to communicate sincerely and establish strong, lasting personal connections. So that was my body one. Now my body two. I'm going to continue down this road. While technology seems to have made the world smaller, we are now lonelier than ever and more addicted to being alone than we ever have before. Our over dependence on technology for everything, including learning and information accumulation has caused us to become isolated, even though we know more. We no longer use dictionaries, encyclopedias, or questions ask our elders questions. While we have gained information, we have lost so much more, including artisanal skills and generational knowledge passed down by talking to each other. In conclusion, I believe we are far too dependent on technology, and it has already eroded our society. If we continue this dependency, mankind is doomed in general. All right, so as you can see, I've written here a conclusion. We've got 11 minutes remaining. So we've got an introduction, which is a paraphrase of the statement, and then a direct answer of the question. Body one is ways we have become dependent on technology. Body two is the effects of dependency on technology. And finally is a conclusion with a final thought, okay, with no extra ideas. I'm not going to read for grammar because I'm assuming a lot of you are not going to have perfect grammar, and I'm not going to read for spelling mistakes, okay? Let's see how we did. Fingers crossed I get above 22. But again, I did not review at all. I just showed you the structure and I did it in under 10 minutes. How long did we do it? How long did it take? We took less than 10 minutes. Let's see, my friend. Follow the plan. Understand. Plan. Type. Review. And check. Okay, let's click the score. Let's do British. Fingers crossed, my friends, because I'm your teacher. And if I can't get a high score, then who can? What's going on here? Okay, we got 24.4. As usual, I lost one spot. I made one spelling mistake, and it was not so happy with my vocabulary range. R2 dependent. Okay, spelling mistakes. That's it. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Let's do another together, shall we? But anyways, you can see, follow the structure, follow the format. You don't need a template, but you do need a format and you do need a structure. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, for this one, let's do it in super speedy mode. As you can see here, I'm back on my ApeUni platform. We're picking an essay. Let's find a topic. What do we have? What are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? Okay, so we are going to choose the topic on space laws. All right, the first step is to understand. The second step is to plan. Third step is to come up with ideas and examples or explanations. Step four is to type. Look at me making my typos. Type. And step five is to review. Right, so let's make sure that we've got our structure ready to go. We need an introduction, two body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Let's talk about understanding. The question is about the necessity of space laws and governance. So, what they want is my personal opinion on the need for space laws and governance. Do I think we need laws? My answer will be yes. So, I know that I need a formal essay with intro, body paragraphs, and conclusions. So, my main thing is that I'm going to answer yes, I believe we need laws. Why? Because. And then type. This will have to wait and review. Let's start off with the. Where are we going to start? Let's have a think. Launching items into space, claiming space over Earth. What else? Let's get straight into the introduction. So you can see that in real time I am typing and thinking at the same time. If this were an IELTS test, I would not be doing that. I would be thinking separately to typing. But because it is PTE and obviously we've only got 20 minutes, we have to do both at the same time. No, it will not be the same quality as one of my IELTS essays. It's much lower. Okay, as you can see here in the introduction, I have used one sentence to paraphrase the statement, which is the necessity of space laws and government and governance, and one sentence to firmly answer the question. Space travel begins. Well, now let me have a think here. The first steps of space travel. Right, and we can skip a lot of this. As you can see, I am typing and thinking at the same time, correcting mistakes and grammar as I go along. I'm just going to read to you my introduction while the typing for body one happens. As mankind seeks to further travel and venture into areas unknown, the topic of space travel and journeys into the galaxy often comes up. Some believe that there needs to be laws and governance surrounding the issue of space travel and occupation. I believe that there should be laws and a governing body that oversees space travel. The first steps of space travel begin on Earth, and it is on Earth where conflicts and problems arise. Space launches, interstellar travel technology, and the race to dominate the immediate area around Earth are often contemptuous issues. If we had a governing body that controls all space related issues, there would be less conflict. Okay, so as you can see, I'm typing, and bringing up Russia, I'm bringing up America. Now I'm moving on to my second body paragraph. So now let's look at the structure of my first body paragraph. One sentence was the topic sentence, right? Introducing the issue of conflicts and problems. Then I put out one, two, three more sentences fully explaining my point. Now I've moved on to body paragraph two. Okay, the topic sentence will be about the issue of safety. Okay, so you can see as I'm typing, I'm reading and typing and correcting as I go along because again, we only have 20 minutes. But if you look at the timer, you can see that I've just used up 10 minutes so far. As soon as I'm done typing this, I will read it out to you. Now remember, it is very unlikely that on test day you're going to get perfect scores for grammar and for spelling. For everything else, you can probably get really high scores. Okay? So I expect to get around 24 for this, -1 for spelling and -1 for grammar. Hopefully, I only make one spelling mistake. Okay, let's read our second body paragraph. Another important reason highlighting the need for space laws and governance is safety. So that was a topic sentence. Then I have one, two, three more sentences explaining the point. Having laws in place which control both airspace and space security could greatly reduce accidents related to launches and shuttle or rocket mishaps. If shuttles, rockets, and launching apparatuses are built according to specific laws, safety of astronauts and all engineers involved can be guaranteed. Having these safety laws in place will further help aid the growth of our global space missions. Okay, so how do I conclude this essay? All right, now you can see that I'm cleaning up. I'm deleting all the rubbish that does not that I don't want to submit. We only have 7 minutes left. Let's just quickly read through our essay. You can see that I'm reading through it. You can see the cursor moving along. I'm stopping to take time to read through it. Do 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 ba do be do be do. Okay, now go down. Let me read my conclusion to you. In conclusion, it is clear that the race to space will only become more intense, so we will definitely need to have space laws, governance, and control, not just here on Earth, but on all forms of space vehicles, including satellites and space stations. Full stop. Okay, submit. With 6 minutes left to go. Exactly 268 words. How did we do? I'm hoping to get, as I said, about, in this case, obviously, I know how much I've got because this is a voiceover. But yes, always follow the same format. You need to understand the question and you need to directly answer it. I got 24.4. I lost a score for spelling. I made one spelling mistake and I made a minor grammatical error. Oh, two minor grammatical errors. But other than that, I'm very happy with the essay. You can see that in general, my method works as long as you have basic grammar. Alrighty tighty, my friends. So there you have it, folks. We have covered everything I would like to cover for the right essay question type. You know now that there's a format you need to follow, there's a structure you need to follow, and there's a method you need to follow. Understand that on test day, you are most likely to make the occasional spelling mistake and you are most likely to make grammatical errors. Everything else needs to be perfect. Really develop your essay, really concentrate on content, and really learn to write proper sentences. Simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. I hope this tune has been helpful, and it's really late at night. It's time for me to go to bed. But yeah, if you have any opinions on the tunes, or if you'd like me to do something else, let me know. Next week we'll probably do summarize group discussion. That's a fun one, but also good luck, everyone. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.